What turns darkness into a starry night? What can make me want to share instead of fight? It's that great, big, wonderful, oh so powerful magic of love. 1+1 still makes 2. You need me, I need you. All alone, life's no fun. When love knocks, you better come. Or what can make a baby look so happy and cute? What can make my doggy be so playful too?
Yeah, so let's begin. And maybe that gave us a bit of hint that the session is about, you know, love, kindness, courage, and a disclaimer before I begin. We'll be discussing or reflecting or looking at life through a book by Charlie Mackesy, and the book is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. I have no right whatsoever on this book, on anything I say, on anything I share. Everything is, I found it on the internet, and I have this book borrowed from the Burlington Public Library. So just I thought I don't know what the copyrights are, but here we go. The disclaimer, and here comes Jasmine, or shining and bright. Welcome, Jasmine, after a long time to the Circle of Harmony. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so a friend of mine, Manmeet Narang, in a book club, I knew about this book. I've read it in bits and pieces, but she reminded me the beauty, the joy, the simplicity of how delightful, simplicity and honesty and truth can be. And when I read something like this, it makes me, wonder, why do we go far, right? Why do we get complicated? Why do things get complicated? But I think again, how they say that, Maya ka adi nahi hai, ant hai. So rather than focusing on why they get complicated, if I can keep bringing myself back, I think that's good enough for me. I mean, and I think that's beautiful that if I can have reminders that things, that life, that my thoughts, my inner being, the things that I am responsible for, I can keep them simple, and then life would definitely have more meaning and more joy and more delight. So, yeah, just sharing the poster just to give us a brief intro. I don't know if all of us have read it. So the title is Exploring Love, True Courage and Kindness through the book. As I already said, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy. And there's one thing that I wanted to share. Here, Charlie, in the introduction, he's saying that this book is for everyone, whether you are 80 or 8. I feel like I am both sometimes. I like that, like I don't have to be into that category. He feels sometimes he's 8 and sometimes he's 80. So, as we know, this very simple story is about a boy wandering in the snow who meets a mole, a fox, and a horse. They meet together and they keep adding up, and they're walking together in the wild, walking through snow, fields, storms, and the setup is spring. So, the weather changes frequently, that there's a snowstorm and then there's sunshine. And again, he mentions it in his introduction, but that is very symbolic of life, right? This is how life, like the scenery, the weather changes. He says their adventures happen in springtime, where one moment snow is falling and the sun shines the next, which is also a little bit like life. It can turn on sixpence. So, good reminder. So they are looking for more meaning, and they share the inner truths to help each other discover the things that truly matter. And I can see it. Yeah, so this is where we end. not the session, but the poster. So before we begin, any questions, comments, reflections? Are we familiar with the book? I know Deepa is, but other than her, anybody has? I mean, I'm sure you have, but yeah, I don't know what I'm asking. Okay, great. So just, taking a pause just to invoke grace to help me expand through the book, through the simplicity, and to let go of a lot of unnecessary loads, baggages, definitions, complications I might be carrying. And may this book help me do that. Yeah, thank you. So, we can do some kind of questions that we can think. The others, I'll just share some screens I again got off the internet. So, yeah, so just to have a little bit of mix of both. So, one of the most, one of the interesting questions that was asked, I think, by the boy. It was about, yeah, I shouldn't give that up. Yeah, so I think it's almost in the beginning, it says, what do you want to be when you grow up? So basically, a boy meets a mole and then they form a friendship. And, the boy is asking the mole, or the mole is asking the boy, I'm not sure. What do you want to be when you grow up? And the answer is kind. So, out of all the things I say, I think I need to be, here is a mole and a boy having these conversations, which are the important conversations of life. And here it is. I am assuming you can see the screen. It's not groundbreaking or ground shaking, and yet we forget these things, right? In wanting to be so much, I forget that the simple things is what I truly want from others, right? Like if I reflect in general that how do I want others to be? The first thing I think I want is kindness, right? Like I want people around me, strangers, to be kind. When I see kindness, it feels beautiful. And yet, when I have to ask for things, when I aspire for things, when I desire mostly, not even aspire, kindness is not in my list, right? We all want a beautiful world full of love. And yet, are we loving? I mean, we must be, but can I do better? And yeah, I'm sounding a bit here and there to me, so bear with me. Yeah. So at any point, as we know, please feel free to unmute, share anything that comes to you. So, after kindness, the next thing that struck me was on the same topic. Being kind to yourself is one of the greatest kindnesses, said the mole. So again, when we usually think about kindness, we think about, again, how I can be kind to others. But not to forget that being kind to myself is one of the greatest kindness. So it's a nice reminder.
Taru, we can see the screen, but if you click on that particular image, it will enlarge, maybe, because
Are
right
you
now
seeing
we are
it
seeing
small?
all the
Okay.
images together. Yes, yes. We're seeing that box where all the images are together. Like,
And okay,
yeah.
now tell me, can you see the big screen now with the single image or no?
No, we
No,
are seeing
no.
the entire gallery.
Okay, thank
Just
you
we need
for
to symbolize
letting me
all of
know.
it.
Thank you for letting me. I'll just open it and I think I'm sharing it wrong. It has to be open. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, now I think it should work. You see it now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We
Thank
can.
you for telling me, Chetna. So this was the first one. So that you can see the boy and the mole. And I'll just share the next one, the one about being kind to yourself is one of the greatest kindnesses, said the mole. So on the same lines, I felt this was again similar. What helps you to love others? Loving yourself, said the mole. You we have been kind of always, talking about or struggling with self-love. So it's really nice to see it here as well. And on the same line, this last one. Yeah, I'm assuming you can see it. It says, "How come you can love others so well?" asked the boy. And the horse says, "I started by loving myself." So, we can reflect on this, right? I think this is quite important. So, any reflections on why do we mostly not start by loving ourselves, or what can we do to start loving ourselves? Now we have so many beautiful songs, right? I don't know, I was sharing it with somebody. I have this memory 3, 4 days back that, that Hindi song, हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करें, दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करें. Again, we have heard of these songs. And yet, how often do we remember the essence, the meaning, and how much are we practically be able to see it? So when we are told that to love others, to be there for others, to always, be that support, making things comfortable and providing, that is great. But then down the line, we realize that, when we are not very connected, we realize that something is missing, and then the focus gets on us, and we realize that who will love me? Yeah. Yeah, welcome, Sardaji. I'm glad you're here. We were just discussing self-love and
Okay.
kindness. I was hoping you would join the session today.
Oh, lucky I didn't miss it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did share a few things. I'll share them with you personally. But the last one we were just reflecting on is this one. So you can read it, right?
Yeah.
So we were just wanting to reflect that why do I not start by loving myself? Why is loving myself a challenge? Why is it not the norm? Why is it something that I have to, aspire for? if we want to talk about it. Otherwise, we can just dive into it and start right away. No discussions or reflections needed.
Yeah, Taru, we always, from the childhood, we always think that if we give importance to ourselves, it is not good. Always we are tuned that way. If we eat something, they always say, no, you should not eat first, you should give it to others. If you go anywhere, you should give way to others, then only you have to go. So maybe that is tuned in our mind. So we are applying for everything. So put the donkey behind, we say. So for everything, others will be first and we'll be at the back side. I think maybe this is one of the reasons why we behave like this. Usually, most of us will behave like this only.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I make sense, but
No, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
I agree with Sardaji. Yeah, like in childhood, we are taught to give and that giving is good. So that becomes ingrained, but slowly it becomes an ego issue as well. Like the giving then out of really, it brings me to that that what is the layer behind this action, so what is the intention behind this action. So the action of giving becomes more out of people pleasing and out of the ego of being good in my own eyes or others eyes or even God's eyes. But that ego of being good, it happens, the giving happens more out of that. uh, and then what the ego does is it stops the receiving, because it has now learned that by giving I am good and I am great. So it, that means receiving will make me small, so it doesn't want to receive. So in that sense, like even when nature wants to give us, or we don't know how to receive, because we are so much in that ego of giving that we don't know how to receive. And I mean, that's what I'm feeling about myself. And uh, and actually giving and receiving are two sides of the same thing. Like if you don't receive, then how do you give after a point? Like, so it also requires somewhere killing of the ego. It requires becoming humble to receive that I am not everything. There is like the sun that is greater than me, the divine, and I am also a receiver ultimately. So that, yeah, that will- also to me personally, when you shared these slides, what really touched me was the first slide, that he said that what do you want to be when you grow up? The answer is just be kind. Yeah, kind, yeah. And it brought me to this whole thing of, like my childhood and everything, and how as a child the focus is so much on doing, like the whole focus when for this question, what you expect is the answer to be a career, like what do you want to do. They are asking what do you want to be, but we somehow give the answer of what do we want to do, like a doctor or whatever, like a career. So it becomes somehow from our childhood so much, it becomes so important what we are doing, and somehow that aspect of being gets ignored, that we can just be kind. I mean, it's like, I also have the status of just be, but then, even how to just be myself, or to be me, when I often think of that, like when I'm so conditioned to acting, reacting according to society, I don't even know anymore who is the true me and who is the uh, like when I go to my childhood and inner child, I feel there is so much kindness. That is who I truly am. But is it allowed to flow out? Like I put so many barriers, so many defenses, that true nature of mine is not able to flow out only.
Yes, Chetna, thank you. And that is why in the beginning of the session, there was this thing, right? That how do we come? So far it feels surprising. And yet, when I see it, I can start from that moment. I think that is more important, because most of the time, what we do is that, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I've been doing this, I've been doing this. And first I do something wrong for 10 years, 15 years, let's say 30 years. Let's be kind. Okay, for 30 years, we are doing things that we are going in the wrong direction. Then for the next 30 years, I could be complaining or wondering, how could I be so wrong? How could I be so wrong? So I don't start the movement towards the right. But the one who's truly intelligent, and not our kind of intelligence, but the one who's wise would say, oh my God, I've been going in the wrong direction, stop and on, right? Like change it. So I think we cannot do anything about why we have been doing things. Say, like you said, a beautiful example that, how, say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Somebody could say a painter, somebody could say a doctor. Because, as a child, when I heard this question around me, that's the answer I was expected to give. And that is the answer what people were giving around me. So, for example, say there are a bunch of 5-year-olds and somebody asks them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And one of them says, I want to be love. So the next person would think, okay, this is the direction we are going. And the next person could say kind. The next person could say generous. But because I'm living in the world where the answer is a doctor, an engineer, an astronaut, these are my, and this is where the thing of the Sangha comes, right? Where am I living? What company do I have? What company am I giving my children? So I think the importance of that comes. And yet, now that I can see it, if I can see it, that what do I want to be? And the answer is kind. Let this not be just something that I feel beautiful about for the 30 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour of the session. Let me now put it in practice, right? Okay, let me be kind, kinder to myself, to others, and let kindness or love make the world go round, at least my world, right? I can be responsible for my world. So rather than complaining why there is so much hate in the world, let me be the love, and it really changes things. So thank you for sharing, Chetna. I'm glad you can see so much that you can see and share it so clearly. And may we all be able to touch these simple things, which are really, it feels like the true things of life, which we have come quite far. And if somebody says, what do you want to be when you grow up? And a child answers kind. 9 out of 10 adults would say, oh my God, I think there's something wrong with this child. Okay, no. And this also reminds me, and I've shared this often, but it's so beautiful, it never leaves me, that how when Dr. Anand Reddy, the founder of Sakar, when he was a child and his father, who again was a sadhak, had asked him that, Anand, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, Baba, I want to be a doctor, thinking that this is the best answer he can give, right? He wanted his father to be proud of him. And he said, but there are so many doctors already in the world. You be Anand, you be bliss. So if that is a father I am getting, that is what I'll be. And now he's the founder of, Sri Aurobindo Center for Research and all. So that's the foundation I can give myself when I stand up, when I realize where I have been going wrong. The most beautiful and important thing that I want to say again and again is I can start from this moment. What I have been doing does not matter at all, because if I'll go there, I lose months and years or my lifetime wondering how could I go wrong instead of walking on the right path. So yeah. Yeah, Jagan, I know you've been wanting to unmute. Please go ahead.
No rush in that. Pretty good conversation going on. Enjoying it. It's like what Sharda ji has shared. I wanted to share something very similar, but the choice. Now I realize that the choice had always remained in my hands. Of to take something, to take an advice, or to not take an advice. And like Sharda ji was saying, and how Chetna shared, for me, my childhood was that I um, I was always compared, especially after I moved to South India. I was always compared with grades and with children good in some sangeet, or children who behave well, and I was always said, "Ki, you have to become like him." And fortunately, my father wouldn't say that. My mom would sometimes compare, but my dad would never. But I thought my dad didn't have any hopes on me. That's how I saw it. And then whenever I would raise my voice for something, and they would say, "Ye galat hai. This is wrong. You don't know. You're a kid. You don't know what we say. Listen to him. Be like him. Be like that. Be like this." So what happened is eventually the consciousness developed that, okay, you know what? Maybe I don't know at all. Maybe why should I be even kind to myself? Because every time I am trying to say something out of my will and out of my understanding, and now I'm being pushed back, then why am I doing it? And now it's the things have really changed for good. Now things aren't the same. Now I can stand my ground. I can say that this is what I want. Someone will call me you are a fool, then yeah, good, yeah, that's how what you think. That's what they think about me. That's what they think about me. Why would I want to change their opinion of me? So and now I did say that I already had the choice. So I had the choice to listen to my father more than my mother, especially in this scenario. And people would also tell me to give others before whenever I eat something, they would say give it to the guests first. But I never listened to them. I always ate first. My hunger was more to me. So there I didn't take that choice. I took the choice where I मतलब ये मेरी स्मार्टनेस में ना, मैंने जहाँ पे मुझे लेना था मैंने लिया, जहाँ पे मुझे नहीं लेना था, it was always in my hands. I cannot really blame anybody. But to be I'm 30 years old, and I realized that the moment I started loving myself more, जो मेरे frustrations थे कुछ लोगों के साथ, they kind of vanished like how, like it's magic, like a superhero, like I don't know, not a superhero, but anyway, like a magic. That doesn't even exist anymore. Like I don't even know this being in me that hates people or that hates this person. So yeah, like it's pretty amazing that um, just by feeling kind, like, just by being a little bit kind, not fully kind, but a little bit kind, I'm able to, like, I'm not able to, it automatically makes me uh, less unkind to others. And the more I'm being kinder and kinder, the more I'm starting loving others. And um, the more inner harmony I have, the more in peace I am with others. So yeah, like there is still a lot of progress to be made, and I'm excited for it. I will say that, because there should come a point, for me at least. I want to be at that point where, you know, I don't have to look elsewhere for inspiration. I can just close my eyes, look within, and see, okay, this is what you are. Wow, let's make you even better. Let's build you into a better person. So yeah, like how cool would that be ना, क्योंकि मेरे साथ तो मैं हमेशा रहूंगा, as long as I'm alive. लोग मेरे जो सराउंडिंग्स में है, वो तो नहीं रहेंगे. अगर मम्मी है, पापा है, कोई और है, कितने दिन रहेंगे? They'll leave at some point. The only person who will stay is me. So that's what the try is for. Trying every day to see that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Jay. There's a couple of messages from Jasmine, but just before I open them, this thing Jagan reminded me a little bit of what you were sharing. Do you see the screen with the big picture?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So it says, "What doesn't worry you anymore?" asked the boy. And the horse said, "The expectations of others." So that's what I felt when you were sharing. So thank you for that. So let's go through Jasmine's messages. So she has shared on the group, "Being kind to yourself is one of the greatest kindnesses," said the Moor. So, okay, those messages are direct. And so she's saying, can we explore what does kindness mean that we are talking about in terms of our daily living? Kindness in words, actions, intentions, internally, that kind of presence. So what does kindness means? I think again, it could mean different thing to different people. And there are so many different definitions, so many things that are coming to me at this. Yeah, would anybody like to share their answer that what does kindness mean in our daily living?
For me, it would mean moving towards progress with joy. Uh, so for me, uh, like in practical life, how it has been is there was a phase few months ago where I had decided, okay, I will be kind to myself, and in the name of that being kind to myself and my inner child, what I was doing is I was being lazy. I mean, I won't call it lazy, but yeah, like I was resting a lot. If my inner child wanted to rest, I would rest. If I wanted to eat something, I would eat that. And I did that for a while because I felt that during my childhood, I had been very strict with myself. And so this was a phase where I consciously took time to listen to my inner child and to give it what it needed as it needed. It needed rest, it needed good food, whatever. So I gave it that. But you, after 2 to 3 months, I got tired of it and I started asking myself that, I mean, am I really enjoying this? What do I want? And stuff like that. And then it came to, uh, you know, that no, I, I mean, I don't want to live like this. And so it was not out of societal pressure, but it was out of my genuine want and desire to experience something more in my life, like what could give me more joy. So yeah, so for me, when I hear the term kindness today, it doesn't mean going back to that phase where, you know, I just rest and I just eat anything, whatever I want and stuff. It means, and that is the first thought that comes to me when I hear this word. It's very conscious that the first thought comes that this does not mean that. And then I start exploring, like even in the subconscious, the moment I hear the word kindness, first thought is to my body goes that this does not mean that. So it means, like now I enjoy doing work or getting up or doing some work or whatever, but it means that doing it joyfully, like I'm like not stretching it to the point that it becomes tension or stress. So doing that, yeah. even even in food,
Yeah, I think Chetna got disconnected. But like again, we were sharing, how kindness, see, inherently we all know what kindness means. Oh, Chetna, yes, you're back, please.
I was almost completed. I mean, just last thing I was saying is even in food, there is a certain shift, towards natural foods and all. But I'm not forcing it on myself. I ask myself, like I try to eat consciously, and I ask myself, like, how does it feel in the body? And if something feels healthier, then that's how I converse with myself and try to like shift towards that, because now that is kinder to my body. Like earlier, eating the fat fast food and stuff was kindness to my body because I felt I've deprived my inner child of it. But after some time, it is eating the healthier food is genuinely kindness to me by the way it feels to my body now. So,
Yeah, thank you, Chetna. That was an excellent example of kind of coming full circle, right? Something that I'm depriving myself of. Doing that is kindness at that place. But when realizing that, I really don't want to do it and it's not healthy, it's harming me, giving it up is kindness. So for the one who thinks I am too big, kindness is to realize how humbleness is good and inviting it into our lives. The one who feels that, I'm unworthy, for them building up themselves could be kindness. So other than that, general things like, knowing that everybody is trying to do their best and whatever I do, I must do it without images, expectations of what I will get in return, doing it just out of, because I can. And like, how we discuss sometimes in that movie, 7 Years in Tibet, when, that person said, does kindness need a reason, right? It doesn't need a reason. So when I go into reasons, I must do this because I should stop myself and cancel those reasons and just say, I do this because I want to do it. It gives me happiness. So this is why I feel that, people might think that there are some people who are doing social work, who are running NGOs, who are helping people, but we are all so selfish that we only do things that make us happy. And if we can remember the reason why we are doing these things because they make us happy, and that's the reason why we are doing it. And if something has stopped making us happy, we should have the courage to move on, to change our ways and find new things, like again Chetna described. And what she had said before, that also had very strongly resonated about the ability to receive, the grace to even receive is really important in our lives, and that opens up a different dimension in us. So yeah, I think that kind of sums up. Yes, Sarda ji.
And Taru, just now you were saying about receiving, no? Can you please elaborate a bit on that? Because if for me, if somebody gives me something, I'll feel very bad. I don't know why. Even for Mira's wedding, if somebody gives, I was about to tell everyone, put it in the invitation that please don't give gifts. But it won't, it will look very rude. And my husband said, no, even if you say, people will give, because we have given to everyone, so they will try to return it back. But that receiving will be always uncomfortable for me, even material or no, for everything for that matter. So you were mentioning about grace. Can you please elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to put it into words, but for myself, I realized that there's an ego in me that says that yes, help I can give, but I don't really need help. Things I can give, but I don't really need people or want people to help me. And I felt that was creating a kind of distinction. I would say go into a conference and everybody is getting new pens and copies, and I honestly didn't need a new pen and a copy. So I would say, no, I don't need. But I would see the disappointment in that person's face when they were offering it to me that, okay, don't take it. So I then started receiving more. That yes, thank you so much. And I can always pass it on, right, to others who might need it. So this, this thing about receiving also, I think is something that we feel is a bit, I feel we don't need it, but I think to learn to receive also is an art and is a grace. And technically, we are receiving only, right? Say, if I have a job and I'm getting money and I say that I am earning. So I don't have the capability to have a job, find a job, keep a job, or earn a paycheck. So that too is being given to me. So either things are given to me directly by God, like my health, my body, my brain, or they are being given indirectly by God or other people. So, in this, I just pulled up, I remember my father had shared this with me and I find it very beautiful. And I had shared it before in some sessions. So, this is an instant when there was a sant called Rahim who was always giving a lot. But then another saint called Tulsidas, and I'm sure we all have heard his name. He came to know that, this is the Doha that says that Goswami Tulsidas asked Rahim once, कि when you are giving, why do you always keep your eyes down? So the Doha is ऐसी देनी देन जू कित सीखे हो सैन ज्यों ज्यों कर ऊंचे करो त्यों त्यों नीचे नैन. The more you are giving, I've heard the more, I don't know, like kind of it feels that as if something is happening wrong, like there's no joy on your face, kind of like it doesn't feel you are giving, it feels like something wrong is happening. So Rahim ji answered to Tulsidas that देन हार कोई और है, देवत है दिन रैन, लोभ भरम हम पर करें, याते नीचे नैन. Because the one who's giving is somebody else, someone else. But because it's coming through me, people mistake it to be me who's giving it to others. So that's why when I'm giving, I'm feeling ashamed simultaneously that how can I give anybody else when I don't have anything? So that's why my eyes go down that, oh, go, but I want to give, but what I'm giving is not mine. It has been given to me to give. So if we can understand this, we can understand that how receiving also, we can take a session on this. I think it's a beautiful topic. Receiving, because giving we have taken, giving of oneself, but receiving also, I think, is equally important. And we are receiving anyways, either through people, through directly, so might as well acknowledge it fully. So thank you for bringing it up, Chetna and Sarada ji. We'll take it up in a session in the coming few weeks. But any comments, any reflections on this giving? Yes, Sarada ji.
Yeah, Tari, can you please share this, the one you just now you read on the group?
Yeah,
So
I'll
that
do that. Yeah.
it's beautiful. Yeah, really beautiful. Thank
Hindi
you
is
so much.
fine with you? Should I look for it in English?
And this is okay for me.
Okay.
This is, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, Deepa, please.
I think what you mentioned just now was so powerful, because I see a lot of people, and we ourselves, I myself, sometimes we think, I've helped this person so much. I did so much. I went out of the way. And forever we carry this thing that, this negative feeling that that person didn't reciprocate when I was in need. That person refused to help me. They dodged it when the time came to help. But to think that it was the divine that gave you that opportunity to help someone, who put you into that position of having that resource, time, and emotion to help somebody else, I think then that feeling of being wronged and that expectation from somebody else would not come through. And from a very personal story as well, I've seen my dad used to be involved in a lot of community and social work, and there were times later on in life when he required some help and support. The person he might have helped would not have reciprocated, but there was somebody else who came in whom he had not helped at some point of time because the situation wasn't there. But this circle, this loop, it continues. It's rather foolish on us, on our side, to expect that this person has to help. It may not be the same person whom you helped, but it will be somebody else for whom it's his first chance to help. That person may or may not be related. You have not directly benefited that person at any point of time, but it's like how everybody has divinity, and that divinity just flows. So this energy, this loop, this help, this kindness, this compassion, it sometimes comes from totally unexpected quarters. And that is why we have to accept, because then we are in this circle, in this loop of helping each other. So not only helping somebody else is important, but also receiving, just so that we maintain this loop and circle.
Sorry. I was saying more than the loop. There's something more here. Like, it's not that I'm doing kind of coming full circle by receiving. The thing is, even when, like it said in that sharing, that when I'm giving, somehow when I am earning a paycheck, I feel that's my earning. And say if I won a lottery, I would say I earned because it was my good luck. And if say my dad offers me some money, I would say nahi nahi ab dekho yaar itni umar ho gayi hai itna mat karo, right? Because it would feel it's his money that he is offering me. So somewhere I have this distinction that what is mine and what is not rightfully mine. But in our basic, especially in the Indian culture, it is said that दाने दाने पे लिखा है खाने वाले का नाम. And if you look into astrology and stuff, there also they said कि okay, this when your second child would be born, because uski patri में लिखा है, so you will your business would start flourishing. When your third child is born, if they are born, this child, he doesn't have much in his thing, so your business would falter. A lot of times I've heard that people actually, depending on the stars and what or the number of the child, that the people can say, "Ke ye wala would be unlucky for you. Don't bring him into the world." And people go so far as actually abort that child at a very small stage, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, because they feel it would bring them bad luck. So they honestly must be believing in it, right? So even when I'm giving something that does not truly belong to me. It has been given to me. But I think that is where the problem starts. I sit on top of it that ye to mera hai. Then I put it in lockers and vaults and, sit on it like a serpent. I'm guarding my wealth. So, that's what, when mother says that nothing is wrong in itself in this world, just things are not at their proper places. So look at, we all know this is a commonest thing, the unequal distribution of finances in the world. Some people have so much and some are dying of hunger. Like, how is that possible? But we are allowing that to happen. So just that, even when I'm receiving from him. Even when I'm giving what was given to me from him. So when I'm able to remove the me from the picture, so like I shared that when I would say, no, I don't need, I felt there was some arrogance, or I felt the others felt I was arrogant even though I didn't. So now I receive with open hands, and if I don't need something, I mean, it still bothers me a little if I don't need and I find it a waste. But now I try to give it to somebody who might actually need it, and that too is fine. So this ability to receive is also a very beautiful ability. It opens up your heart and you realize how kind, all of us are, most of us are. So there was a message. Yeah. Saraswati ji, should I read it, or would you like to unmute and share if you have the capacity? Okay. Okay, so she's saying that it's taken care of. Thank you. So, yes, Jagat.
Yeah, I was actually going to tell you about the message from Saraswati ji.
Okay.
Because that was something I had in my experience too. I think I can add a few things there. Um, I used to be a bike taxi boy in my city, especially for my uncles. मेरे mother के brothers होते थे. After engineering, I think for 6-7 months I didn't do much. So they would so if their houses were 300 meters apart, they had to move a bag of something. They would call me from 4.5, 5 kilometers away to come to their house, take the bag and put it where 300 meters away in a different apartment. And I would do it. I would do it because I think I looked at them in a way that I was inspired by them or whatever that was. I had my cousins, I had my friends who would ask me to come pick them up, and I'll do all these things. I'll do it. And the way I was looked at is that I was like a driver, like I think I shouldn't even say a driver, but anyway. So I was this guy who will transport things. One day, I think I got a feeling that um, I'm not enjoying this. My car, my best friend, he wouldn't even acknowledge my he wouldn't even acknowledge my help, or he wouldn't acknowledge my love for him. And I would say that like when I realized this, I thought really felt like, oh God, my God, I think I'm being exploited. My resources, my energy is being exploited. But then, fortunately, I used to live in Vishakhapatnam, where there was this beach where I could go on the beach and I could just walk. And the ocean has such an energy, such positive energy the ocean had. I would actually talk. I would say things loud. I would say things outside loudly, and I say मैंने ऐसे किया फिर भी he didn't recognize me, मैंने उसको ये करा फिर भी he didn't recognize me. And I would just walk along the shores and I would just keep on saying this, and somehow there was an answer coming to me every single time that okay, but पहली बार किया तो तेरे को मालूम हुआ, तो फिर से तूने क्यों करा, तो फिर से तूने क्यों करा, मैंने रिपीटेडली वही कर रहा हूँ, वही एक्सपीरियंस ले रहा हूँ, मैं फिर भी वही कर रहा हूँ. तो मैं तब मुझे पता चला कि मुझे करना था इसलिए मैंने किया. लेकिन एक जो आई थिंक आई एम स्टिल काइंड ऑफ ट्राइंग टू discover what this being is, on why it is getting so irritated. If I really want, if I really want acknowledge, like if I really want someone to acknowledge me or to someone to help me back, then that is a business transaction. How is that a kindness for me? So but then I kind of realized that I've realized it long time ago, like 7 8 years ago. And I said कि okay, मुझे करना है तो करूंगा, नहीं तो नहीं करूंगा. And I kept on doing it, kept on doing it. They would give me names. You're like such a kind taxi driver. You're like, I was like, okay, that's okay, that's okay. But again, something in me irked me that wish it was a little bit more, you know. And still to this date, like I do something for someone, I really want them to at least say a thank you to me. But then even there, I see a transaction only.
Yes, I think, Jagan, when you use the word transaction, you've caught it. That's exactly the whole thing, that I am someone who has love, and love is not a transaction. So if I do something out of love, I'm doing it out of love, but somehow this air corrupts me. And it feels, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And the answer is nothing. So moving on, we can have this certitude, this thing that if I want something from this situation, I should not do it. If I'm helping somebody and I'm expecting something, I better stop, because it will corrode my ego. It will corrode me through my ego, or it will bring this bitterness, this ill will ki maine itna kara, but there was nobody who did anything for me. It's also kind of, it's like I'm insulting God. He has given me so much. And through that so much, if I'm able to help a little, carry more weight maybe than I think I should be carrying, that's something to be grateful for, that he feels that I can carry this weight, right? Or carry this thing for somebody or for myself or for my family or for others. So if I'm doing it, if I'm enjoying doing it, running around this bike messenger thing that you were saying, bike taxi, it can also be fun, right? So if it's fun, I'll do it. But if it doesn't feel like fun, I'll stop. I'll say I don't want to do. That would be being more honest and more kind to myself than doing it and then, harboring this ill will. So anytime I help, and Mother says it very beautifully in the Sunlit Path, there are several passages that cover this, कि under the name of, this charity, NGOs and all, people develop such bad egos that I would say, कि stop helping people right away, because that help is really taking you to the other side. And it sounds very weird, right? That why would Mother say stop helping? But this is the reason, because then I start building stories around it. I start saying, oh, people were not good to me, I was good to people. I was good to people, and I am good to people, and I will be good to people, because good is what I am. People will give what they have. I am responsible for myself. I will give what I am. And in situations when it's a bit complicated, or if I feel something is not right, or if I feel being taken for granted or being misused, I must stop. I must stop. I must say no. But no बोलने में भी मुझे नहीं आता है, मुझे शर्म आती है, मुझे वो चाहिए कि नहीं, ये देखो, ये कभी नहीं बोलता या बोलती, right? Like we also have greeds and our images that we want to keep, and that is why things get muddy. But here with this simple book, with the simple learning, what was our aspiration? That maybe return to simplicity. So forming this thing now, this motto that I'm doing things because I want to do them and not because I expect anything. If I can help today, that doesn't mean the other will help. And I love Deepa's examples that how it just flows, right? I helped somebody and somebody else helped me some other time, but it was somebody else that I didn't help that helped me. So in my little mind, it's somebody, 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 but in the bigger mind, I helped, like I was saying, with something that was given to me by the divine. And honestly, I'm helping somebody else who's also a divine's child. So there's no me. So this me has to be removed, and everything else falls very simply with love and kindness. Yes, Chakati.
Yeah, I was I didn't finish yet, so I was still going on about this. Yeah, like again. So anyway, so I went on with the question, and I said that, do I really want to do this? And I still wanted to do it. So that's, I think, when I realized that, okay, so that's what I wanted to do, so I'm going to do it. So there is still a fight within that keeps on asking that why you want to do this, why you want to do this. But then I also realized that there comes a point where whatever it shouts at me, it tells me acknowledgement chahiye, this, you want that, you want this. And agar mujhe nahi bhi milega, I will still do it. Because somehow there is a force that acts, that says ki, if you, I don't know what to name it, I don't know um, what to call it. But again, even when Saraswati ji was sharing what she shared, that I'm loving this but keeping distance without judging anyone. um, I kind of felt that even if someone is not acknowledging it, I would, if I'm still doing it, I still want to do it, then um, why does this feeling even come? Like, why do I need it? So the practice is going on, the practice is going on. And right now, even I'm trying to expect nothing. I'm just trying to give, if I can give. Honestly, I really don't give much. So I'm trying to give, and if I can give, then I'm just trying to keep quiet and just walk away, or at least even not show my face. Try to be anonymous as much as I can. But it's a process. It's a process, and yeah, I forgot something I wanted to share. But never mind. Thanks.
Yeah, I apologize. I interrupted you. I just thought that the transaction thing was all that is the main thing that one needs to think about. Rest stories, and our things, they are never ending actually. But yeah, thank you. So I found a thing which would have, a video which would have some of these things, because the way I'm sharing it, it's very abrupt. So maybe we can look at it and pause whenever. And we are kind of leaning towards the end of the session anyway. So I'll play that. I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming it just has clipping.
The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy. Hello. I'm so small, said the mole. Yes, said the boy, but you make a huge difference. What do you want to be when you grow up? Kind, said the boy. What do you think success is? Asked the boy. To love, said the mole. Well, hello.
Even this one, like, what do you think success is? And the answer is love, right? That again for us, like we were discussing that what do you want to be when you grow up, how the different things come up, and how we can change or relook at our definitions. So that also is really nice. So there's something about the cake I'm just forwarding. Yeah. Yes, Sardaji, please. We are also finishing up. I'll share the recording.
Is the biggest waste of time. Comparing yourself to others, said the mole.
Again, a very important one, that what do you think is the biggest waste of time? And how Jagan was also discussing comparing yourself to others, like either believing others when they compare ourselves to others, but when we are little, we don't know how to avoid that. And when we grow big, then also we keep comparing. And honestly, this is one of the traps that we trap ourselves in. A lot of time, things don't pain us by it in itself, but they pain us because we think others have it and I don't. A lot of things we don't want, lot of time we don't want things. But we say that, because others have it, I want it. So this comparison really helps, kind of puppets me and takes me to places I don't want to go, I don't need to go. And that is why, when J. Krishnamurti, he says about conditioning, that how the one thing that you say is, I am this, I want this is what I want to do, is not really you. You have picked it up from here and there and here and there. So if I can look at my definitions or what I want things to be and how I want them to be, maybe I can move more towards simplicity.
I wonder if there is a school of unlearning. Most of the other moles I know wish they had listened less to their fears and more to their dreams. What's that over there? It's the wild, said the mole. Don't fear it. Imagine how we would be if we were less afraid.
Sorry, yeah, this also I think I wanted to stop here, and maybe this could be the last one we'll take. Imagine how we would be if we were less afraid. We don't even realize how afraid we can be or we are. Before this question comes, it says that what if we were less afraid? And then we realize how in small everyday things, there are things that stop us. There are things that we stop ourselves. Unlimited things in my everyday that I have, bounded. I have a boundary around myself because of safety, because of fear. And here the boy is asking the mole that imagine how we would be if we were less afraid. Anything anybody would want to share? So maybe we can take up a little bit more.
I'm not afraid, said the mole. If I wasn't caught in this snare, I'd kill you, said the fox. If you stay in that snare, you will die, said the mole. So the mole chewed through the wire with his tiny teeth. One of our greatest freedoms is how we react to things.
When we listen to other people share their stories, a lot of time we see this, right? That how I was reacting, I realized I was wrong. And then I changed, or I aspired to change. So when I'm talking about freedom, choices, I must be able to acknowledge that, one of the freedoms that I have is I choose how I react to things. And a lot of times, sadly, our reactions are also borrowed. So, but it doesn't need to be. Yeah.
I've learned how to be in the present. How? Asked the boy. I find a quiet spot and shut my eyes and breathe. That's good. And then? Then I focus. What do you focus on? Cake, said the mole. Isn't it odd that we only see our outsides, but nearly everything happens on the inside? Be careful not to Oh. So much beauty we need to look after. Being kind to yourself is one of the greatest kindnesses, said the mole. We often wait for kindness, but being kind to yourself can start now, said the mole. Often the hardest person to forgive is yourself. Sometimes I feel lost, said the boy. Me too, said the mole. But we love you, and love brings you home. I think everyone is just trying to get home, said the mole. Hello.
So now they meet the horse, but if there's anything would want to share on any of these points, we can take a pause before we go forward. And if we go forward. That one too, that the hardest person to forgive is your own self, right? That also I think a lot of us struggle with. And the most important person to forgive, the most important forgiveness is when we forgive ourselves for the things we think we did wrong, we could have done better. So that too has a lot of freedom and liberation in it. Yeah. So should we carry on? Are we finding this? I mean, I don't know. Is there any, do you think we are beating around the bush? Like, as in, should we carry on and finish this?
Absolutely, this is wonderful.
Okay.
Yes, I am also very interesting. I feel you could have one complete session on one line from this.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
It's so interesting.
Okay. Thank you. So now they are meeting the horse.
Hello. nothing with friends is never doing nothing, is it? Asked the boy. No, said the mole. You fell, but I've got you. Everyone is a bit scared, said the horse. But we are less scared together. Tears fall for a reason, and they are your strength, not your weakness. What is the bravest thing you've ever said? Asked the boy. Help, said the horse. When have you been at your strongest? Asked the boy. When I have dared to show my weakness. Asking for help isn't giving up, said the horse.
Yeah. So I think this too, deserves a pause. That what is the bravest thing you've ever said? Asked the boy. And the answer is help. So, although help feels like it comes out of weakness, but how it's painting it, that what is the bravest thing you've ever said? And the answer is help. So quite beautiful.
Bravest thing you've ever said? Asked the boy. Help, said the horse. When have you been at your strongest? Asked the boy. When I have dared to show my weakness. Asking for help isn't giving up, said the horse. It's refusing to give up. Sometimes I worry that you'll realise I'm ordinary, said the boy. Love doesn't need you to be extraordinary, said the mole. We all need a reason to keep going, said the horse. What's yours? You three, said the fox. Getting home, said the boy. Cake, said the mole. I've discovered something better than cake. No, you haven't, said the boy. I have, replied the mole. What is it? A hug. It lasts longer. Nothing beats kindness, said the horse. It sits quietly beyond all other things. Sometimes, said the horse. Sometimes what? Asked the boy. Sometimes just getting up and carrying on is brave and magnificent. How do they look so together and perfect? Asked the boy. There's a lot of frantic paddling going on beneath, said the horse.
Yeah, just taking a pause. Even this is really beautiful. When we see some swans swimming in the lake and the boy is asking, how do they look so peaceful? But, to maintain my peace, to maintain my serenity, to maintain my humbleness, there's a lot of work that is going on internally, right? I'm being drawn to 10 different things and I have to pull myself back that, nahi, baith ja, baith ja, koi zarurat nahi hai. So although on the surface everything appears to be calm, but a lot of effort is going on all the time. Even this Kabir Das song in which he talks about that Chadariya Jini, the Jini, like how it's like my consciousness is pure and clean and it's so you kind of still has so much spaces, it's not laden yet. So it can let things freely pass. And you know how he says that it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort to keep it clean. And I remember, and I've shared it before too, that in, you know, when Oprah Winfrey had interviewed Thich Nhat Hanh once, so one of the first questions she asked him was that you appear so at peace, so calm. It's as if anger doesn't touch you. How do you do it? And I was expecting a magical answer, but Thai said that it's my practice. You know, this is important for me. So I worked for that. So even though things look very at calm for ourselves and others, we have to make an effort to stay above the water. So when we realize we all have to do it, it doesn't seem that it's only I who's struggling. The struggles, you know, are happening, and so is the growth and the swim. And even the next one that she'll be reading, I think is beautiful, that the greatest illusion, said the mole, is that life should be perfect. Right? I have this illusion that life should be perfect, and I keep wanting to comply to my images, and it never happens. And you know, here Charlie had said that his dog has stepped on the sheet when he was drawing it. So, you know, on the sheet where he says that the greatest illusion, said the mole, is that life should be perfect, his dog stepped, and that's why we see this is a little unclear. So I think interesting timing of the whole thing.
The greatest illusion, said the mole, is that life should be perfect. Is that the moon? Asked the boy. It's a teacup stain, said the mole. And where there's tea, there's cake. Be curious. Life is difficult, but you are loved. So you know all about me? Asked the boy. Yes, said the horse. And you still love me? We love you all the more. Sometimes I think you believe in me more than I do, said the boy. You'll catch up, said the horse. The fox never really speaks, whispered the boy. No, and it's lovely he's with us, said the horse. To be honest, I often feel I have nothing interesting to say, said the fox. Being honest is always interesting, said the horse. There's something I haven't told you, said the horse. What's that? Said the boy. I can fly, but I stopped because it made the other horses jealous. Well, we love you, whether you can fly or not. Okay. Is your glass half empty or half full? Asked the mole. I think I'm grateful to have a glass, said the boy. We don't know about tomorrow, said the horse. All we need to know is that we love each other. When the dark clouds come, keep going. When the big things feel out of control, focus on your love right under your nose. This storm will pass. After the storm, we have such a long way to go, sighed the boy. Yes, but look how far we've come, said the horse. Sometimes I want to say I love you all, said the mole, but I find it difficult. Do you? Said the boy. Yes, so I say something like, I'm glad we're all here. Okay, said the boy. I'm glad we're all here. We are so glad you're here too. What's your best discovery? Asked the mole. That I'm enough as I am, said the boy. I've realised why we are here, whispered the boy. For cake? Asked the mole. To love, said the boy. And to be loved, said the horse. What do we do when our hearts hurt? Asked the boy. We wrap them with friendship, shared tears and time, till they wake hopeful and happy again. Do you have any other advice? Asked the boy. Don't measure how valuable you are by the way you are treated, said the horse. Always remember you matter. You're important and you are loved, and you bring to this world things no one else can. Home isn't always a place, is it? Thank you.
Yeah, so that was a beautiful book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. Sorry, something started at my end. Yeah, so even that one that what is your greatest discovery? And when the answer is that I'm enough as I am, I think it's really beautiful. And the thing that we discover for ourselves. And even just one more thing that I really resonated with, it was something like that, storms end. Like we think things are so much bigger, so much bigger. But the storms, yeah, I think there was something like this. I don't know if they had covered it, that I'm tired, in the storm. The boy says, or the mole says, I'm tired. And, the answer was, don't worry, the storms get tired too. So I thought that was very beautiful, and one can remember that. So there were more. And yeah, I think this one, I'll just share the screen. Yeah, so this one, what's the best thing you've learned about storms? Asked the boy. That they end, said the horse. So it's again the same one, but it was written in a different way, that the storms get tired too. It's not just I who get tired. So the fight is that who gets tired first, and let it not be me. Yeah. So if we like, we can, share something that we strongly resonated with today. Maybe we can find that clip online. We can share it on our group, and we can share what we resonated with and why. So it can be more than one, but if we would like to do it, obviously there is no compulsion. But it would be nice, sometimes when we like something, we forget it. But if we give it more thought, then it kind of settles in me. So in that regard, if we would like to do it, that would be a fun activity to do. So ending the session here. So aspiring and hoping and praying that our lives can be less complicated and more simple. And I can find courage in small things. And maybe the things that I think are small, like kindness and courage, and things that I don't think about or assume, like love, may I give more and more importance to it and become that, so that I can be more of that and the world can change, can be more loving, more courageous, more fearless, because I am more loving, more courage, more fearless. So sharing the merit, if any, with all sentient beings, and praying that we all have joys in our heart and peace, true peace. And thank you for the blessing of your company. And may we keep learning, progressing, and growing. Thank you so much.